We're all people, and that's the most important thing.
What can I teach you and what can you teach me?
How to accomplish things in the face of adversity or obstacles.
Nothing is insurmountable.
He has something amazing to contribute.
The DDRC is a non-profit organisation that really provides services to people with developmental disabilities. The DDRC started off when two mothers got together and they both had children with developmental disabilities, and they didn't really know what the future held for their children. They looked at what supports were needed by their families and by the children, and then it grew from there. And so they looked at things like employment and how would they spend their lives. I think that there's a big difference between how people were viewed 65 years ago and how they're viewed now. 65 years ago, it was much more about the disability and the fact that people were unable to do things, and much more now about the abilities and what people can actually do. We provide both day services and also home living situations.
I'm 26 and I've been working here for 5 years now.
Ramatech is a laboratory. We analyze fluids from machinery, engine oils, transmission oils, differential oils. We can tell what's going on inside an engine. Just prior to 5 years ago, I was having lunch with a couple of friends of mine. One of them worked for PACE, and he asked me, had I ever thought about taking on a person who had disabilities? I said yes.
PACE program, it stands for Participation in Academic Career Exploration, and we're kind of sort of a transitional program for young adults coming out of the school system who do require a little bit of extra support.
My disability, it's because I have brain damage with epilepsy, which I have. And the reason I'm with DDRC, because they're there to help out with clients, help them to find themselves a career, or helping them to find a place where they can go back to school or things like that.
She should be quite capable of doing what any other person can do. And I just had a really good gut feeling about her and figured that she deserved an opportunity to try. Anybody that I employ here has to go through the same qualification test. So it's quite difficult. There are about 50 questions with multiple choice answers, and then there are 5 setups she has to do with the instruments, because all of these instruments need calibrating and setting up before we can actually do any testing. Jessica got 100% on the test, and I've tested a lot of people before and nobody else has ever got 100%.
My daily is that once I arrived here and turn these on, then go into the office and set up the computers. Then we'll do the monitor setup, then do all these pourings and then burn the samples and bring the bottles here and do the viscosities. When you take one of these samples and suck them out and just pour them in here, use a little bit of pressure, and when one of these oils come down here and go up to the red line, then you have to press this for a timer, and when it goes up to the second line, then you get to stop the timer. Then we get to do a little bit of math, a little bit of calibration and math.
I get a lot of satisfaction out of working with people like Jessica, and to know that she's got an opportunity. And I think in her case, she's done extremely well.
So it's seeing everybody go through a different path and a journey. They get there in a different way, but they all get there somehow.
I have been enjoying working here. Is that well, because it's really fun.
No, she's a great asset to the company. We're small, as you can see, and with Jessica, she's just exactly what I need.
She joined us about 10 years ago, and this is through the good work that was done with some leaders here at the organization. And what was done is establish a relationship with DDRC around, what work and what arrangements can we have with them regarding people that can come in and fill roles. Because at the end of the day, roles need to be work needs to get done, and there's some great opportunities here. So my understanding is this has been a long-standing relationship with DDRC, and a quite good one as well.
We found that she was funny, had quite a sense of humor, and she was certainly a dedicated, loyal employee who really took pride in the job that she was hired to do. She's been really a good employee for the company, absolutely. She has a schedule that she follows. So we have everything from helping us maintain meeting rooms with stocks and supplies, placing supply orders for a small inventory of supplies that we keep, like paper, pens, and notepads and things like that. And additionally, mail services. So she will collect and deliver mail to all of our floors and multiple locations on those floors within the company.
Wednesday, 2:50. Deliver the mail. 10 o'clock. Pick up mail. 1 o'clock. Sit down and have a snack. 3:30. I am off. I am going home.
This device basically is for someone who's nonverbal and who actually wants to get included, especially when you want to get included in the community. It gets difficult for them. So like Rhonda, what she does is, her entire work routine is there in the device. So even if I am not supporting Rhonda, somebody else comes to support her, she exactly knows, she knows to show them, right, this is what I'm supposed to do.
I think it's the can-do attitude, which is nothing is insurmountable for Rhonda. She has her buggy, she gets her job done, and she brings that positivity and that smile. I mean, I don't know if you've ever met Rhonda, but I mean, you can't help but smile when you see her.
Companies need to broaden their horizons. They need to consider all the available employees that are here in the city for them to fulfill roles, and not narrow the scope as much as they might otherwise. So Gibson has been recognized on a few occasions, and most recently just this past year. And in the acceptance speech, we actually said, you know, I think that it's important for companies to realize that there's value to be found in other employees. So recognize us, if only to show you that it is a workable solution for you as a company, because all we want are good employees. We want reliable, loyal employees that come to work every day and don't complain about their job. And this is what we've found in hiring the staff that we have from DDRC. Because Rhonda isn't our only staff member. There are a couple of staff members here from DDRC. Another one that's coming up on 6 years, and Rhonda's coming up on 11 years.
Adam is extremely intelligent, and he's a great talent that we've been very fortunate to have included in the Accessible Airwaves Collective. Accessible Airwaves is the radio show that we have on CJSW that's produced for and by people with disabilities. And we just happened to speak with him when he was volunteering here one time, and we thought that he might be a good candidate to join this collective. And so from there, he's been asked to do a number of things in the collective to produce these radio shows. And he's always been up to task. Very, very funny, very witty individual.
Here at CGSW, I do the housework, and also I'm part of the Accessible Airways Collective, so they produce the shows every month. I usually appear at DDRC, the Developmental Disability Resource Center, kind of type out my questions and get a kind of like a script out, so I don't have to memorize it in my head.
So Adam might have some difficulties with reading or writing, so that's where I might step in and help him. So I'll help him with the applications. I'll help him, with research. I'll help him with the finer details, maybe even in editing. So I'll help him just pick out the details and make sure he does the best job that he can.
Me and Ryan do most of the do the editing part. So like we edit the whole thing and kind of compile it together and make it sound good. And just send it to one of the staff who is here, and then he puts it online, and the production coordinator puts it on air.
At CJSW, our mandate is, for lack of a better term, to represent the underrepresented, which means we provide voices for those in the community that don't otherwise have voices in, say, mainstream media. And we feel that whether it's the LGBTQ community or the Indigenous community or the multicultural community, the people with disabilities also are in many ways marginalized. And we feel that it is our responsibility to help nurture these communities because they don't have voices elsewhere. And these are the communities that CJSW supports wholeheartedly.
Being on radio, just producing my own voice, and I'd like to be my own radio host, I'm hoping. It's a cross my fingers kind of thing. But it's really fun to learn back behind the scenes. You don't have to be in front of a camera, you don't have to worry about audiences too much. It's just mostly about the listeners.
Well, home-based services refers to 3 programs that really operate out of either families' homes or clients' in homes. And integrated living services would be our largest program. We have the most clients, and it's really to help them live as independently as possible in the community. And there's a couple different ways to do that. Most of the clients would be matched with either another family or couple or individual based on their needs to live in that person's home and to participate in the community, whether it's going to school, work, coming to a day program, doing recreational activities in the community.
It's a very long-standing relationship. I actually met her when she was 6 years old. We were matched through Big Brothers Big Sisters. And so over the years it's evolved from being her big sister to being her foster mom for a period of time. And now I'm her independent living practitioner, in-home support person.
He's really special. We hang out and go to movies and go out for dinner and stuff. I get to hang out with her.
So when I met her, she was 6 years old, as I said. And she didn't know a lot of the things that she could do or wanted to do. Like she's full of adventure. She's full of adventure, full of laughter, and that came out right away. But as we did more activities through Big Brothers Big Sisters, you could see that she had a real zest for life and for trying new things. She doesn't have a lot of fear. So when you want to step back and decide, are you going to do it, she's already in there doing it. She grew up being challenged and bullied a lot, being told that she couldn't do things because they felt she wasn't coordinated enough or that it would be too hard. And so for the longest time she had to, I guess, accept it because that's just the way it was. But as she grew older and became 18 and became her own guardian, she kind of flipped the coin on that. And so for all those that said she couldn't, she proved to them that she could. So she's she's found her voice now, and she speaks up more for herself. And she also speaks for other people with disabilities who can't.
It is really good because if it wasn't in place, I don't know where I would be, and I don't know if all the skills I have, probably wouldn't have them all.
It's about guiding her in some of her decisions, helping her, in supporting her in what she does, So making sure that on a day-to-day basis that, you know, she's doing things that she'd like to do and that she feels comfortable with, as well as supporting her in her social activities and just being there for whatever she needs. She's her own legal guardian, so she has the ability to make decisions. It's just a case that I'm guiding her and helping her in making decisions that are appropriate and that are decisions that she's also comfortable with.
Leonka is very outgoing, and she's a success story in from lots of perspectives. She's been with her, we call them integrated living practitioners, for quite a long time. Most recently this winter she participated in a polar bear dive, and I believe it may have been at Sylvan Lake, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, she was soliciting funds throughout the agency to raise money for a charity. So she also has worked, I believe, with the University of Calgary in the summer, and she attends day program, and she's really trying to do everything to her fullest capability.
Comprehensive care, we provide respite services to children and adults with disabilities in the Calgary area, and we do in-home respite. It's to really provide a break to the families. So mom or dad can go on a movie date, or they could just do simple things as doing the laundry, cleaning the house, and not to have to worry about their child being taken care of. So the staff would go in and make sure that they care for that child or adult.
Fiona is 5.5, and she is epileptic, and she is on a wonderful diet called the ketogenic diet that allows her to not have seizures anymore. So we're very happy with that, and we're happy to be introduced to DDRC, and we're using the respite program, which really helps our relationship and our relationship to our children.
When I come in, we have a discussion about how it's been with Fiona during the week, if she's been experiencing any seizures. We have a discussion about her diet, and then I sit down and feed her a meal. And usually Merrick and I are talking all throughout the meal. Then she goes off and gets ready to go out.
It's helped a lot. I don't think you realize how much stress you're under until it's taken away from you or helped to alleviate, because we were quite concerned about skill sets, and my own daughters wouldn't babysit for us because they were afraid of having a seizure, and
the older daughters.
The older daughters, and so, you know, not everybody wants to jump into an unknown scenario and is not entirely comfortable. So it's nice to have a consistent caregiver that knows the family, knows how to relate to it, knows where the issues are and sort of how to address them. Yeah. So that's helped a lot too, because every time someone comes in, if she has a seizure,
and
put her on the side.
We've kind of isolated ourselves from friends, and our friends had to change, and people didn't understand. They didn't, you know, every time we leave, we have to make ketogenic meals. If we go to friend's house, and we have to make sure she's okay, and not everybody's in that space.
His confidence has just skyrocketed since he became a volunteer here.
I was very intrigued by the military museum and my family, and I was so intrigued by it that I just decided to volunteer.
So Ryan and I, we kind of developed a relationship over the time that he's been here. He's showed a great interest in being in the military, and so he was kind of drawn to me because I am in uniform. So it was since then I saw that he had an interest. So then I put myself out there and just kind of introduced myself, and then made friends with Ryan.
He's a very loving boy, I'll tell you that much. When he hugs you, he hugs you. But yeah, no, he's changed much too. He's more open, I think, now than he had been, and I think this little group that he's with has really made a lot and helped him a lot. And certainly this museum has been very good for him.
The joy that you see and his ability to actually be in relationship with people and his communication and his capacity to experience the full joy here has been absolutely great to witness.
We love Ryan. I've seen such growth in him from when he first started to now. His self-confidence is incredible. He's got a wonderful sense of humor. And the thing that strikes me with Ryan is his consistent positive attitude and how he cares for others.
Yeah, he's very, all I can say is he's just very kind and very caring and very, very helpful. If he just sees someone on the street having a problem, a fellow I used to go to school with used to see him up at the Crow Child Y, and he had a client that was in a wheelchair. And he was struggling a little bit with it, and Ryan just walked over and helped him. He didn't even know who he was, So that's just how he is.
For me, it's really kind of humbled me, because there are people in Ryan's situation who don't get the opportunities like he does. So it's just great to be a part of that.
I've learned a lot. I think that one of the big things I've learned is just all of the things that they can do that I can't do. So for example, some of them are really good at drawing, at music. They have lots of abilities, and in those areas I have none. And so it's really looking and saying, okay, how do we complement each other? What can I teach you and what can you teach me?
They can fulfill their goals because very much they come in with their own expectations, right? So we want them to be able to meet their expectations and then encourage them to be as independent as possible. Now that can really range. Some clients, that may be learning to master a task in their home environment, such as cleaning their room without support or without too many reminders. For others, it may be transitioning to living independently on their own after being in a supportive living environment for a couple of years. So really helping them be the best they can be in a home environment.
A lot of it is just seeing these young adults growing up. And I think everything from dating and relationships, like FACE does not focus on that, we're education and employment, but to be successful in employment and education, you have to have that personal balance too, and you have to have the self-esteem, you have to have the confidence. And I think just watching them come in with expectations that they can't take transit. Some have never been on transit on their own, or they'll never have a paid job, or they'll never go to school, post-secondary. Like I barely got through high school, how do you expect me to post-secondary? So it's seeing everybody go through a different path and a journey. They get there in a different way, but they all get there somehow.